You're watching Open Agenda.
Hi, welcome to this week's episode of Open Agenda. If you've been watching the recent county council meeting, or even perhaps talking to some people in the community, you may have heard that there's been some big news and very big concerns regarding the situation at the Wicomico nursing home. We decided to film this episode because of the powerful testimony that community members brought forth yesterday at the August 4th county council meeting. I'm joined today by Joe White from Parsonsburg.
Hello.
And Mr. Jim Adkins from Mardella.
Good morning.
Thank you. And what I'd like to do, gentlemen, is actually not really say all that much. I would like to let the public hear what we heard last night regarding the concerns from former employees, current employees, volunteers, and relatives of residents about what they say has been transpiring over the last few months at the Wicomico nursing home under the new director, Miss Sylvia Potter.
And some of the comments from the county council themselves.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's important because I was also taken aback by the level of some of their responses, given the content that was revealed.
Now, on August 4th, they did have the closed session with the executive and the director from the nursing home. But, that was a closed session. Obviously, it must have dealt with some personnel issues.
But you could tell during the council comments, even though the council could not address what was discussed during the closed meeting, you could tell that they were very concerned about what they had heard and what they had seen in the not only in the closed session, but then when the public stood up there and repeated it to them.
It was hard to hear some of
Yes.
this.
Yeah, and just for context, the footage that you're going to see in a moment of citizens coming up and giving very heartfelt testimony came after about 2.5 hours of prior comments and discussion on other things on the meeting
those
agenda.
folks waited around.
Those folks waited for 2.5 hours, well more than 25 is from what I counted that were at least in the room. And they stayed with the intention to get their voices heard, and they certainly did that. So what I'd like to do, gentlemen, is can we show the public some of what we saw last night, let them speak for themselves, provide the testimony, and then we'll come back and maybe just get our broader thoughts on it.
Okay.
Okay. Stick around, and we'll be back in a few minutes to talk about what you're about to see in the next segment of Open Agenda.
Good evening. Before I start, I would like for those in the gallery here, if you're here because you have a concern about Wicomico Nursing Home, please stand up. Thank you very much. I see employees, I see family members. I see terminated employees, present employees. Good evening. My name is Wendy Catlin, and this is my sister, Janet Fox, both residents of Wicomico County. I thank you for the opportunity to come before you this evening with a concern we have. Back in the fall of 2022, our mother became a resident of Wicomico Nursing Home. From the moment we entered Wicomico Nursing Home, we knew this was the place for Mom. We were all greeted with smiles and introductions. We got to Mom's room and began unpacking and setting up. We turned around and Mom was gone. A sweet little CNA had come in and wheeled Mom down the hall. We finally found Mom about an hour and a half later in the dining hall playing bingo. We went in to say goodbye and she said, "Okay, I'll call you tonight." Although Janet and I stood in the parking lot crying, Mom was smiling. We were an involved family and even told everyone to get used to our faces because they would see one of us daily. It didn't take a week for our mother to begin thriving at Wicomico Nursing Home. Her biggest complaint was there was too much pepper in the peas. Now think about that. You're in a nursing home and your biggest complaint is there's too much pepper in the peas. When I say the administrators, supervisors, nurses, GNAs, CNAs, doctors, physical therapists, activities department, kitchen staff, dietitian, maintenance, and yes, even the sweet little lady doing the laundry became my mom's family and ours. Please believe me. I often wondered if they treated everyone like Mom. The answer is yes. We watch the same people I just mentioned treat all residents with the same respect and care. See, not every family is as involved as we were, but the staff of Wicomico Nursing Home made sure that those residents had them in their lives. You could tell these people really loved their jobs, and oh, they were so good at it. We continue to go to Wicomico Nursing Home and visit mom's roommates and sing with our church the first Sunday of every month. I can tell you something's going on over there. The familiar faces are no longer there. There are no smiles from the employees who were there, nor do I see the smiles on the residents' faces. You can sense a difference. I've heard rumblings and know numerous staff have quit or been terminated. This is very concerning, as when you don't have happy employees who don't enjoy going to work, or they feel they have a target on their back, you don't get 100% for them. And you know who's going to suffer? The residents. As I close, I beg you to please find out what the problem is at Wicomico Nursing Home. Or better yet, I want you to find out who the problem is.
My name is Mary Ashanti. I'm a resident of Wicomico County. I have questions and comments, and that's going to work for me. Who has fiduciary responsibility of Wicomico Nursing Home? I have been told that Wicomico County Council has fiduciary powers and that the county executive have administrative powers. How often does county executive and county council meet for updates with Wicomico Nursing Home administrator? Suggestion: hold quarterly meetings like the council does with the Board of Education. This would promote transparency and help develop trust by all the stakeholders. It would help dispel rumors like Wicomico Nursing Home is being sold to a private entity. Comment: I talked with the administrator on August the 3rd because I was notified by members of the community that Wicomico Nursing Home is being sold. Ms. Tina Foskey, administrator, told me that if the county was going to sell the facility, they would not have hired her. Also, during this conversation, I asked about meet and greet. She said HIPAA regulation would prevent that, but she is willing to attend a community meeting to share her ideas on the future of Wicomico Nursing Home and get community input. What is the community's responsibility to Wicomico Nursing Home? We owe it to the legacy of the founders to make sure that Wicomico Nursing Home is not privatized.
Good evening again, Joe Venosa, District 7. There's an old expression, like many: some people are so poor, all they have is their money. Which brings me to the current executive. You see, the problems that are happening are a direct result of mismanagement or malmanagement. The nodding heads that the cameras can't see seem to agree. The fish rots at the head. This is a clear reflection of a series of policies that have been going on for years. You can look at it from the landfill, to safari at the quarry, to the missing audits, to the teachers that have been fired by the executive, or at least intimidated into being removed. This is a systemic problem in this county. Ultimately, the only solution is going to be in November, when you vote. If you have concerns about the future of the privatization, and I believe she will privatize it if she gets a majority of the council, make no mistake about that. So be careful who you vote for and what their policies are. Let them publicly make a statement on where they believe it should be privatized or not. But make no mistake, this danger to our community, this cancer, does not end until that current executive is no longer in office.
I am one of those people that was terminated from Wicomico Nursing Home. After years of dedication, after years of compassion, after time going in the middle of the night, in the early morning, it doesn't matter when, I was there. I was terminated on last Tuesday, was it, Ms. Corey? I was terminated for insubordination because I did not get a timeline in time of a no deadline. Yes. I was terminated because they said, they gave me a deadline, but however, the people that said they gave me a deadline was never in the meeting when I was put on suspension. Each one of us have stood together. We have taken care of our residents. And then somewhere in April, our administrator came in. Not did she not know the residents' names, but she still doesn't even know the staff's names. She still does not put herself as an open door policy as the policy states. The lights are dimmed or dark in the office, so it says you're not welcome here. It's a time now that not because of us, over 100 years of experience has been terminated. 100 years of loving our residents. A total of 7 people. One for 18 years, she's here tonight, was terminated. Actually, she was forced to resign because they put her on the IPIP, but her, like myself, also have a very clear record. Our our personal file is very clear. There's nothing on it other than exceptional and outstanding. But yet, here we are, unemployed because of the target that's on our back. And who is this target coming from? The administrator. She decided, I'm going to target this one and that one so that I can get my MDS done from a person that doesn't step foot into the building to assess our resident. Is that not fraudulent? Because all assessments, there should at least have an eye on. I ask and bid that you please find out why this person has been administrator for 8 years and have been to 10 different locations.
Good evening. I'm Chris Windsor, Wicomico County, a 12-and-a-half-year employee, Wicomico Nursing Home until Thursday, when I received a phone call telling me I was terminated. Phone call.
Yes.
The nursing home has been owned by the county for quite a few years. We're county, but not county. We're own subsidy. We're self-sufficient. We support ourselves. We've never had to have county involved until April the 9th of this year. And that's when it became a toxic, hostile work environment. Patient care is diminishing because we don't have the staff. Everybody wants to cut cost. They're changing up the payroll system because they don't know how to work it. They're outsourcing our billing. They're outsourcing our MDS coordinations. We've been a 4-star facility. Nursing homes are rated by 5 stars. We're 4. Everything else around us is 2. So we've done something right in the past, all up until April the 9th. And thank you for your time.
My name is Esther Thomas. I am a resident of Wicomico County. I am currently employed as one of the nurses at Wicomico Nursing Home. Just wanted to write a little statement about things that are going on here. So, as we all know, Wicomico Nursing Home has been a nonprofit nursing home that's more than just a healthcare facility. It has been a home, a place where residents are known as individuals, treated with dignity, and given a voice in their daily lives. It has also been a family for the loyal and dedicated employees who support our residents and one another. Our staff have built relationships that cannot be measured on a financial statement. They know how residents take their coffee, what brings them comfort, and when something is wrong before it even comes to it. Many employees have devoted years of their lives to this community. That continuity, trust, and compassion are the foundation of resident-centered care. Now, a new administrator is changing that culture. Long-standing policies are being replaced and essential jobs are being outsourced. Dedicated employees face losing their livelihoods while residents face losing their familiar caregivers and support staff they know and trust. These are not simply operational changes. They affect real people, real families, and the quality and consistency of care. Financial responsibility is necessary even in a nonprofit organization, but financial decisions should support the mission, not replace it. When decisions are driven primarily by revenue, efficiency, and corporate priorities, residents can become numbers. Employees can be treated as expenses, and the values that made this home special can disappear. We are asking for transparency, accountability, and meaningful participation in decisions that affect this community. Before positions are outsourced, leadership should explain the financial and care-related justification, evaluate the effect on residents, and listen to the employees, residents, and families. Cost savings should never come at the expense of dignity, trust, safety, or continuity of care. Wicomico Nursing Home belongs in the deepest sense to the people who live and work here. Its future should reflect its nonprofit mission and resident-centered values. We must protect the residents who call it home and respect the employees who have made it one. People must remain the priority, not profit.
My name is Nikki Hayhurst, and I'm a resident of Wicomico County. I'm not a worker over there, I'm a volunteer. I go on my time, twice a week, to see residents in this nursing home. And I've seen the deterioration since April of this, the morale of the employees. I see them walking and trying to do their job, but they're looking over their shoulder because they don't know if they're going to be the next one being fired. I don't see the juice carts out there where the president can go over and say, hey, I want a drink. You have to go find somebody. Yesterday really just put the icing on the cake. I was in there seeing a lady that has a problem and she can't feed herself. The aide was there, and it was not one of these ladies here. It was somebody new. Standing there with her phone in her hand, taking her fork with the spaghetti humped up this high, shoving it in the patient's mouth.
It's terrible.
That is not taking care of people. That is not Wicomico Nursing Home. I knew when Wendy's mother was there. That was not nursing home. These people are walking on shells. That boss, if you want to call her that, doesn't even come out of her office. She doesn't see what's going on. She got her blinders on like a horse. Thank you.
My name is Ernest Davis, Wicomico County resident. For all you guys know, I was on the council for 8 years. And this isn't the second time, this ain't the first time that something came up with nursing home. This ain't the first time it's been want to be sold. I can look at 2 councilmen that know what happened. It was trying to be sold once before. The council stepped in and did what was done, what was right. I understand what's going on over there. The employees are being harassed, not only at the nursing home, it's going out throughout the county. But something has to be done. You know what you got to do, so you do what you got to do and be taken care of. But I'm quite sure the council's going to do take their responsibility and do what's correct to help solve this problem that's over there. So you guys hold tight. I think things are going to go and get better. Thank you.
Council, I think these people need to know who the council representative is for that particular area. Is it you, Mr. Ennis?
Me?
Is it you, Ms. Shaney?
Yes.
Please see Ms. Shaney. Take your concerns to Ms. Shaney. There was a closed session today, but Ms. Shaney, you need to take everything to her so she can get it straightened out. Do the protocol. You people, I'm glad I didn't go over there. I just had major surgery not too long ago. They were going to put me in the Wicomico County Nursing Home. And because of my insurance, I was able to have 24-hour care at home. That's just me, okay? However, I'm glad I did not walk through the doors of the Wicomico County Nursing Home.
20-some years ago, the citizens of Wicomico County voted in a county executive. When that happened, it changed the whole operation of Wicomico County, and it especially changed the responsibilities of this council. Okay? We don't have the authority that we used to have. 2 years ago, the citizens of Wicomico County had an opportunity to change that government back to a council form of government, and unfortunately that didn't happen. So we still have a county executive. And by our charter, unfortunately, there's probably not a lot we can, and believe me, I love this nursing home. I've had family there, different family members there for years. I think one of my Cousins was probably one of the longest residents, but because of our form of government, we can't sit up here and tell you that we can fix that problem. The problem that apparently we're having now, we were in a closed session before this, and unfortunately I can't talk about it because it's personnel, and I would really get chastised if I brought out anything that was said, but I'll put it this way. It was a pretty picture painted, and that's all I'll say about our meeting earlier tonight. But that's where we're at on that. I wish I could sit here and say, hey, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to straighten things out, and I think every other council member at this table would like to say that. We can't do it. The charter of this county dictates what we can do and can't do.
If you see me having tears in my eyes today, when I never thought that I would have to deal with this issue, because I knew the care that people gave my aunt, my brother, my cousin Mary Pinkett. Cousin Mary stayed 2 weeks. The staff knows all the patients, whether they work on the station or not. And like you said, I'm getting older. I may have to go there. Everybody's getting older, and one day they're going to be, who's going to take care of them? Shane and Shields is saying, don't mess with the Wicomico nursing.
Clearly something is very wrong at the Wicomico nursing home. In my 8 years of being on the county council, I don't think I've ever heard comments that have been so poignant, so heartfelt, and so direct. We need to make sure that that facility stays the best it could possibly be.
And there was a letter from Delegate Sample Hughes, and it was a very good letter. And in the middle of that, she pointed out there were 6 points, suggestions that she would make. And I hope these suggestions are taken up. As Joe said, it would have to be by the executive, but I'm going to mention 3 of them that I think are real important. Annual audit, quarterly board meetings with the council, and maybe with the executive as well. But then the best one is establish, I'll read this right off the letter, establish a community-based board of directors or advisory board consisting of community leaders, healthcare professionals, former family members of residents, and representative of the county council to provide guidance and oversight. And I think that's the most important one, that if we can put that in place tomorrow, as soon as possible, then we'll start getting back towards where we can make that facility and maintain it as great of a facility and institution as it has been all along. So
I wish I could say we could save the world, but as Joe said, we don't exactly have oversight over a lot of things, unfortunately. But we appreciate what you do. 3.5 years ago, right after I was sworn in, I took a tour over there, and it was one of the cleanest facilities I've ever seen. With regard back to the nursing home, I heard the words toxic work environment more than once tonight. We're getting mixed messaging with the emails we've been getting past couple weeks and what we heard tonight. There's clearly a problem, and we should not be hearing toxic work environment in the nursing home or anywhere else for that matter.
I thank everybody also for being here tonight. This is what local government is all about. It really is, and we really appreciate your presence. I know Mary Ashani and a few more of you here in the room. I think the question was, who has the fiduciary responsibility in reference to the nursing home? It's a really, really good question. And it's one of the first things we started evaluating probably within the last week. I'd have to thank Shani Shields. She called me immediately, terribly upset by it. And we've been trying to sort through it at once as soon as that happened. As Dave said, Cherie Sample Hughes also sent an absolutely fabulous letter. As we've had one meeting, and then we'll be reviewing everything that we've discussed with legal as time goes on here, and try to do it as quickly as possible. The executive did hire the director. As we understand it, the executive has that authority. Normally, something to some degree might require county council approval, but that's with department heads, and the nursing home is not a department of the county. So that's how that plays out, and that's why there's a lot of gray areas right now. In regard to any dismissal at this time, I would have to say it appears that would also be within the realm of the executive's office, not the county council.
Welcome back to Open Agenda. Now that you and we have seen some of the highlights of those comments, I'm curious to get your thoughts about what you saw and what you'd like to see moving forward. Mr. Jim, what are your...
Well, what you saw and heard is very concerning, not only from the employees' point of view, but also from the relatives and the family's point of view. But I think one of the most disheartening things about it is what Councilman Holloway said, and all the other council members acknowledged it. There's not anything the council can do. This is on the executive. And
there was that one question that was asked: is there a fiduciary responsibility of the council? And they didn't have an answer for that.
They don't have an answer. They're taking that to the legal department and letting Mr. Benson research that and work on that. But the buck stops here. It's got to go to the executive's office, and it's got to be made known that there are problems out there. Now, she has stated in a podcast last week that she has no intentions of privatizing the nursing home. I understand that there may be a press release issued that she is not entertaining the idea of privatizing the nursing home. But when you look at the director's history, and coming from a corporate world, I understand this. When they bring somebody in whose job is to basically turn it upside down, shake it, and then see what's left over at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, these people get paid to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, and she has, I think one person who spoke last night gave us exactly how many locations she has been at in a short period of time.
That was their statement. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's why it needs more scrutiny.
Yes.
Obviously, there was a closed session, and we don't have that information at this time. But like as you said, it's been stated that the county executive has said she has no desire to privatize or sell the nursing home, which was one of the big concerns.
Yeah.
I just think we're going to have to cover this later. I think it's good that we're getting the information out there now.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to require more work.
I am deeply concerned and frankly appalled by some of the awful conditions that were described by dozens of people. I agree wholeheartedly that we need to see more information come out. But I, for the record, believe that the intention at some point is to privatize the Wicomico nursing home. And I fear in the future, if the political situation doesn't change in the county, we may be facing that situation. And to your point, if you've ever read the book Confessions of an Economic Hitman, there is a whole industry that comes in, intentionally ruins public assets, strips them, makes them unworkable, and then privatizes them for corporate gain. And I feel that this is what is actually, this is my view, I'm only speaking for myself, I feel that this is exactly what is happening right now at the Wicomico Nursing Center. And I think the comments reinforce that.
It's just another example in my mind in this county where the executive branch creates a problem and then is going to ride in on their white horse and solve the problem. Well, we didn't have a problem to begin with. Somebody created the problem.
Yeah.
And now somebody's going to come in and fix it. So, when things are running smooth and everything's the way it should be, the public's happy with the way things are, leave them alone.
There was no problems that we were aware of. Now, again,
You
we
didn't hear anybody say anything about it.
That's true.
Yes.
And I think that needs to be stated that
Yes.
we were not aware of a problem. Now we are, and I think this is one of the areas that shows like Open Agenda do really well, and also people just showing up at council meetings,
Yes.
like they did in Force. You'll get more information. We've seen this time and time again the last several years, where people a lot of times don't show up till they have a problem, and then when they're there, they get more education beyond the scope of the issue.
Correct.
So I'm
and
looking forward to,
more transparency.
I'm looking forward to get more information on this myself.
Well, we will follow up on this issue very soon. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back again in the near future with hopefully some meaningful updates on the situation at the Wicomico Nursing Home.